go.
Good to go.
All right, everybody. I'm Greg,
I'm Steve.
and we're talking all things conversational today, where one entrepreneur's figuring out as they go, and the other one's been around the block more than once. We're talking all things business, startups, screw ups, everything in between. Zero fluff, plenty of laps. Laps?
Laps.
We'll take a couple laps
Yeah,
around,
take a couple laps too.
but let's dive into it.
Let's get into
So,
it.
today's topic, I picked kind of out of the blue, but it's actually pretty good because I think it's relevant to what's going on in your life.
In mine, yeah, absolutely.
So today's topic really is brick and mortar locations. How important are they to your day to day and for your agent's day to day?
Yep.
Because I know it's not super important to me. I haven't had very many clients come in to the office. Most people are like, just take my stuff. They send it in through email. They do it through DocuSign, whatever.
Yep.
Fill out an online application. I might never meet them in person. I can talk to them on the phone.
Mind-boggling to me. It's still because I know I've had conversation with Sue about there's a guy that she follows and I can't remember his name who does like a deal a day and never steps foot in the office. Does everything from home. And I'm like, I can't. I worked from home.
Is he a realtor?
No, mortgage agent on your side.
Ah.
I can't remember who it was, but Sue and I were talking. My glasses are driving me crazy today. Sue and I were talking the other day, and I said I'm going to stay home today. It was Wednesday. Wednesday morning. I was going to go golfing in the afternoon, so I'm not driving to the falls to go to work and then have to come home, race home to get golf stuff and go. So I just decided I was going to work on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I sat on the couch and I can't do it
with one monitor.
Oh, dude, I can split my screen. It's a
I
Mac.
know, but that's still not enough.
Oh, it's totally easy.
It's not.
For what I was working on.
Okay.
I was actually doing podcasts. I was editing podcasts, so I don't need it on screen. But for me, the distractions, I can't do it. I do not understand how people can work from home.
So I actually think the office here can be more distracting to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's for a couple of reasons.
Well, you share an office.
That's one reason.
Yeah.
The other reason being if I'm at my home office and I get kind of like in the zone.
Yeah.
You're like reviewing documents, you're looking at an application, you're just kind of you're focused, you're in the flow.
Yeah.
And there's nobody coming down to interrupt it. Whereas here, and this is I think at any office, somebody cubicle over, office over, finishes a meeting.
Are you saying I come and distract your meetings?
No, I'm just saying anybody may come over, whether it's Mark.
Yep. 100%.
Comes down because yada yada yada, something happened, or he just wants to, kill time.
Yep. Yeah, wants to get up and stretch his legs. I do
exactly.
The same thing.
You do the same thing. You finished a meeting. You just finished something that was mentally draining. You come in and you sit in our chair in the office. And you're like, what are you guys working on?
So I think, honestly, if we have this conversation 10 years from now, you will have a different perspective on it. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Your kids are cageable.
They are cageable, yeah.
Like realistically, your kids aren't coming downstairs and doing things, asking and doing this stuff. You have this dedicated space. My kids, there's no boundaries. I could go down to the rec room and sit and work and quiet and all of that. But at the end of the day,
but you also, I don't think you have like a dedicated office at your house.
We used to use our rec room used to
the one downstairs.
The downstairs used to have a desk in there, and we used to be able to sit at work at that and all that stuff. But I'll be honest with you, our house is so open. We don't have that door at the top of the stairs, so we don't have that ability. So a few years from now, you might have a different take on that. But for me right now, way too many.
I do have a door I close. I actually
makes
3 doors I close.
Yeah, so that makes a difference. But do you have a dedicated office?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that also
makes a big difference because I close because we got a back split.
Yep.
I close the door to the lower living room, and I'm in the level below that, so I have another door. And then another door to the office.
Yeah. So we don't have that. If I had a room in the basement, and we tried that once, and for me, window, big deal.
Agreed.
There's no window in my
I love
basement.
the fact that there's no window.
Oh, see, I'm opposite.
I like a window.
Yes.
But when I'm trying to just like get into a hole and look at something, when you're just like I pop headphones in.
Oh yeah.
And I put in it's called like chill lo-fi beats on YouTube. And it's just like a repetitive, kind of gets you in the zone. There's no lyrics. You just get like working, reviewing, reading,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing.
Well, nah, not me. For me, I need my space. I need to know I'm going to work to do work.
Yeah. So like
So I could
it's
do
like your
like,
mind
yeah, it's a
shift.
set. I walk in the door and it's okay. I'm in work mode, right?
Mhm.
Whereas when I'm at home, I've got the Jays game on, the Leafs game
Yeah.
on. I've got kids. I've got the kitchen. I'm looking around. The house is dirty.
I
Out of
do
the
think that's
pool,
actually important is to
right?
have the separation because I can very easily just be like, I'm just gonna go. Give me
Gonna,
2 seconds
yeah,
downstairs. My laptop's just down there.
yeah,
I'll be back.
yeah,
And like these little, snippets where
yeah. So you can, but for me, I, I'm comfortable pulling my laptop out, but it can't be like I can't write contracts when I'm sitting on the
yeah, that
couch.
makes
I can
sense.
do this kind of stuff, like the editing of the podcast, because it's fun. I put one earphone in, I can listen to the TV, be part of the room, all of that stuff. But I think for it, I think the demographic of the difference isn't about age. I think for me and what we do, it's about when they got into the business. So realtors are adverse to change as a group. We love technology. That's the one thing we'll jump on, but for our habits,
Hmm.
typically don't change. COVID really changed a lot of that for us because realistically, people stopped going to the office, and COVID had never really have
And they
changed
got
that.
used to not having to.
Well, and they set up office spaces at home.
Yeah.
Like one of my realtors that I talk to every morning, her husband built her a beautiful office downstairs. So she's down there 7 o'clock in the morning having coffee, doing all that stuff,
Setting your day.
setting her
Yeah.
day. She's done her stuff by like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and she's out doing, networking, building, and all,
Hmm.
and
The
that
other
kind of
stuff that
stuff.
goes into it.
The fun stuff that goes with,
Yeah.
our business. So I think that the people who have been in the business like I have 18, 19, 20 plus years, we were used to having office space. We were used to having a desk. We were used to going into work. COVID changed it for us slightly, but even then, we were just a group of people that said, I'm going to go to the office. I'm going to
It's an
talk real
interesting
estate. I'm going to
schedule
be
though.
part. Why?
I like that.
What, getting up in the morning and getting everything out of the way?
Yeah, but that's kind of how I work. But then the part that I like about what you just said was you take the afternoon just to go out and
Network.
have coffee, have lunch, have
Yeah.
whatever. Because I find the morning, like some people can laser focus in the morning easier, some
Yep.
people do it afternoon. For me, I'm better to get eat the frog in the morning. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather just get the crappy stuff out of the way and then
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I read a snippet, or actually, I actually think I listened to a podcast from the
was it
guy
all
who
things
Kelly.
conversational?
No, it was not. Although it's quality like that. The Gary Keller from Keller Williams,
Okay.
and I say it to my team all the time: have your best day before noon.
I've heard you say that.
I say it all the time. The majority of your administrative stuff, your
Hmm.
contracts, all that stuff, your mind is sharpest in the morning for
Yeah.
most people. You are able to focus better in the morning because you haven't had that, that afternoon lull.
It's the afternoon lull for
It's,
me. Like
oh,
it's whatever, post lunch and I think that also affects it.
oh yeah, 100%. So I try to get all that stuff done in the morning. So if I'm here, like I was here, you were here early this morning, I was here early. I was already in Mark's office at 7:45 sorting out an issue.
Oh, that's where you
Right.
were.
So we kind of had these conversations, and now I've already sent out the emails that I need to send out for the day, scheduled what I need to schedule, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
So I can do that from here. I can also do it from home, but it's not the same. I enjoy coming into the office now.
Yeah, there's more of a to me. There's like a sense of
Structure?
urgency
Oh, maybe, yeah.
like that. Like you're
Yeah.
like I'm at the office. Like I've only got a window of this long to
Yeah.
get this done because then I want to.
Yeah. So when I bought the company, we had this at our head office, we had this giant cave. It was 5,000 square feet. It was twice the size of where we are now. There's 34
When you say
individual
head office for you
Lake
guys.
Street in St. Catharines.
Yeah.
So where our brokerage is. We had 34 offices. And it was a cave. It was like a maze of little 10 by 10 offices. Okay, where the shoe
In that
in the
space?
in the factory shoe outlet where it is now on Lake Street in the same plaza.
I got you.
Okay, so that was our
Yep.
space. Okay, we had all these offices, all these desks, all this ancient equipment,
Bullpen
furniture, stuff.
style.
No, it was actually closed 10 by 10, 10 by 9 offices. Some were doubles, some were singles. And
Oh,
everybody who worked at Lake Street got an office. It was,
that's kind of cool.
it was kind of cool at the time. So this is 2017. I started to look around and thought, I'm here a lot alone.
Uh-huh.
right? Why am I
Uh-huh.
like, why are we doing this? So we kind of just did this study and said, okay, for the next 3 months, how much
We're gonna
office time,
track.
how much people are office here and what are they doing? And we found that we had, I think, 37 agents based out of that office at the time. That office was getting used, those offices were getting used less than 40 hours a week.
Total between all agents.
Total between all agents.
Okay.
Agents would come in and use the boardroom. They would sit in the boardroom. They would sit, we did have a small bullpen area that they would come do their thing, grab their printing, and leave.
Hmm.
So we started to look at it. And I said, "Oh, we are spending so much money, time, maintaining this space,
Yeah.
cleaning this
Resources and
space,
everything.
resources, everything. It just didn't make sense. So we kind of, Sean Morrison and I sat down and said, what do we think is the best way to move forward? So we went to what we call hotspotting, which is you can go to any office, exactly the same configuration, drop your laptop down, plug in, and go and do the work. So we, instead of having 5 different offices, we have 5 different hubs now,
Got you.
right? Well, it's 8 now with the other offices, but it was set up so that you could come, drop your stuff,
It's
do
more of
your
like a
work, and
collaborative
leave.
workspace. Like you can
Collaborative
pop in
workspace.
here,
Yeah.
do this. You can pop in here, do that. You have
Yeah.
access to.
Those spaces that you can rent
Yeah,
now.
exactly what I was thinking.
Similar principle, right? Like,
Yep.
so we took that kind of mindset and said, okay, we're going to do that, and basically said to everybody, hey, listen, we know you like having an office, but we know how much you're not using the office. So we're going to take them away, and we'll create private offices, but it's just come in, show up, do your work, and leave,
Yeah, because
right?
that Lake Street office now has three.
3 dedicated offices
Yeah.
for agent drop-ins plus a boardroom,
Yeah. Oh
plus
yeah.
the table, like, and if anybody, there's
Lounge
nothing,
area.
lounge, people come in, and all the offices have the same sort of thing except for Ridgeway.
Ridgeway's got.
Ridgeway
Well,
doesn't.
it's got a private office.
No, it's Elaine's now. So we converted that into the manager's
Oh, I
office. But we
got
have
you.
2 floors, so if somebody wants to go upstairs and have private space, they can go upstairs and have those private meetings as well. So it is completely changed. And realistically, we had started it, but COVID was, in my mind anyway, the nail in the coffin
Yeah, it was
for
a driving force for you
the
to actually
driving.
like
Yeah, to
push
say
everything through.
everything this way. So our Front Hill office is set up the same way. Even the Simcoe and Port Rowan offices. Port Rowan's more of a kind of a full open bullpen. We do have a boardroom there, but they have like dividers to
Hmm.
make kind of
But even the
cubicles.
office here, you set up the same way.
Same principle here in the
Couple
building.
offices,
Yep.
long table, uh,
Meeting areas.
yeah, like a set of work desks that
Yep.
you can kind of like
Plus, we have the
use
3
for the
common
day.
area boardrooms that we can use anytime as well, right? So
Yeah.
out front. So we have these options. But for me, the need for bricks and mortar really depends on who it is. So I've got agents that I haven't seen.
Hmm.
I laugh because the one guy did a couple deals this week, and I haven't seen him in, I'll bet you, 2 years.
Like face to face,
Face
haven't
to
seen them.
face. Haven't seen him. Unless it's mandatory
Hmm.
in-person training,
Sure, something
I don't see
that's.
him. And does great work. Does
So this
his
is what
thing.
my next question was going to be:
Yeah.
is there any sort of like correlation between people who are coming in regularly versus those who aren't
Oh, hell yeah.
and their success?
Oh
Because
yeah.
before Sue and I were more before we had our permanent space,
Mhm.
we would pop around from
You're
office to
welcome.
office, right? We would go hang out there for the day. We kind of used
You
it the way,
gypsied.
yeah,
Yep.
we would use it the way you had intended.
Yep.
We'd go in, we'd see who was there,
Chitty chat.
chitty chat, whatever. And there was definitely the same faces over and over, is what I would
So
say.
I
There are
would.
a few offices that we were not as frequent to.
Yeah, and
One
I
of them
mean,
being,
Niagara on Lake.
no.
Did you guys ever go to Niagara on Lake? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did Niagara Lake, but you know what we didn't do often?
What?
Font Hill.
Yeah, Fonthill is always Fonthill's always the anomaly for me because it's just one of those places that's so awkward to
I
get
think it's
to
all,
from
yeah, I think it's out of
where
the
I
way for you
live.
guys.
Yeah.
So if we were picking, well, I was in St.
Yep.
Catharines. Sue, you guys were Ridgeway, and
Yep.
Luis was close to the falls. So
Yeah.
it was easy to pick one of those three, and then we would do Niagara on the Lake as like a change up.
Yep.
Like, let's go here. It's cool. It's a vibe. We'll grab lunch. Blah blah blah. But Font Hill didn't really.
Yeah, and Fonthill is one of those anomaly places where it's like Niagara on the Lake. It's such a different market. it's such a different place.
I can see that. I
Even
see
when
what
you
you're
walk
saying.
in the
Yeah.
building, it's got a different feel to it. And not that it's a bad feel, it's
Yes.
just different. Like you walk in there and it's like, oh, okay, it's it's Fun Hill. Like, and I can't describe it. I don't know whether it's the people
Hmm.
or what, but it is
Different
kind of
vibes.
totally different vibe. Totally different vibe.
But yeah, we definitely saw the same faces more frequently than others.
So I'll tell you that my top two producers are the top two office attendees, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
and honestly, my most of my award-winning realtors are in the office on a regular basis. Most of them.
Yeah, and it makes me now like I want to say, okay, is that because that's just a habit that they have because of the length of time they've been in the industry?
Mm,
Or is there a direct relation to it?
I honestly think it's a combination. I don't think it's one without the other. I think that yeah, the older agents, the more experienced agents, utilize the services more of the brokerage than the newer agents as well. So that means coming into the office a little bit, talking to the admin staff, getting
Got you.
the admin
Yep.
support. So I think that's a big thing. But like the lady I was speaking about earlier, completely self sufficient,
Hmm.
top producing agent, really really good, but completely self sufficient. And that was just because at the time she set up that office during COVID and said, I don't need to go back. Right. So it is a functionality of who you are and how you drive yourself.
So you're saying even if you had the same habits, but you're running them out of your car,
Yep.
doesn't matter.
Nope. Nope. You could go to Starbucks every morning, grab a coffee, sit there for a
Well,
couple
I remember
hours.
Sue telling me that you used to have a sticker on your laptop.
Oh yeah. Ask me anything.
It was something
There's
about,
like a little thing. Actually, I stole it from somebody else, and it says, "I'm a realtor.
uh huh.
Ask me any question."
It's a good idea. I remember
Yeah,
her saying you'd post up or whatever for the morning and grab coffee,
yeah.
hang out.
And for sometimes for me, it was just to be not in the office,
Yeah.
to take a mental break from being in the
Change of
office,
pace,
change
this
of
or
pace.
that.
But it wasn't because I didn't want to be in the office. It was just literally I wanted to have something
So
different.
now, brick and mortar, its importance, the
Huge.
West offices.
So that's a whole different animal with the West.
And when we say West, we mean the,
Simcoe, Port Dover, Port Rowan.
yep.
So the other division, which not really a division. I got to stop calling it that, but they're all part of the same group. But they are old school, small town,
Mhm.
and really like their duty time. We don't do duty time out here.
So duty time is realtor says post a sign out front says realtor on duty,
Yeah,
hanging out here for the weekend. Come and
yeah.
ask me
If you don't have
questions.
a realtor, come in and ask me
Yeah, yeah,
questions.
yeah.
The legislation's changed it a little bit on how much we can do with that, but
Really?
down there they show up for like in person.
So you guys can't do that duty time anymore?
Well, we can. It's just you have to be very careful with agency and crossing the lines. And if they do have a realtor and they're coming in questioning, asking questions, we're not allowed to actually talk to them. It's prohibited under legislation if they have a realtor already. Yeah. So
But they, like, as clients, might not know what they can and cannot do.
well, yeah, but that comes back to us not
Having to ask the
explaining
right
it properly.
questions.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, I mean, walk-in traffic seems to have dissipated for the most part in the big cities. And that I don't think is anything other than a function of technology, right?
Uber, all that stuff.
Well, it's not even that. It's you have so much information on your phone, on your laptop available to you as a consumer. You don't need to go into the office anymore. Like offices. So when I first started
Hmm.
selling real estate, we would get a delivery of MLS books every week. So
Oh,
the
I
clients
got
would
you.
actually come into the office. We would give them their book for the week if they were looking to
Mm-hmm.
buy or sell, whatever the
It's like,
case may
hey, here's
be.
what we got. Here's
Here's
what.
what the inventory is. Well, the MLS completely changed how that all happened, right? Like there was a program long before I got into real estate where they would send you copies of book tear off sheets, and that would be what you would give to your clients. Like that's
Like a
how.
stack of like here's 123 Fake Street.
Yeah,
Go give it to
yeah, yeah. So I mean,
ah
so the consumer doesn't have the
man.
necessarily
The
the
printing
need.
industry must have been loving that.
Oh, see, we had vans of those things delivered every. I can't remember how often they went out. Once a month, I think. These books,
Wow.
and the thing is the second they were printed, they were obsolete because we added inventory every single day. So it became the
It was
on
such a weird.
on the board, we just made the decision to discontinue it. It became an unnecessary cost
Well, I
and
mean,
work
for
expenditure.
efficiency, it makes sense to run it all through a website that you update
Well,
live.
100%. But I think the other, honestly, I think the other thing that really killed, um, not killed, but altered how we do things is DocuSign.
Really?
Yeah, because we don't chase people anymore for paperwork.
So you're not having to go to their house, meet them at
No,
work,
have
do
them come
any of
into the
that.
office to sign anything, right? So, I mean, a good practice is to still bring them into the office and to say, hey,
Hmm.
you know what, let's go
Here's
through
what
all
you're
the paperwork.
signing.
Here's what you're signing. That's best practice. Not always practical,
Sure, but I also
right?
don't even do that. I just record a video for my
Well,
signing
so
packages.
that was the third nail, right? Was Zoom.
Yeah.
Once everybody figured out how to use Zoom or FaceTime, there was absolutely no need. I love doing in-person training. So I love training. I love talking to the agents. I love, getting up in front of them. I love the in-person. I absolutely hate the Zooms. I do them because you get more people on Zoom because it's
Right.
convenient, but I much prefer sitting around a board table, talking to people,
Well,
answering
you get
questions.
more engagement.
Yes.
I think the to the topic of Zooms, I think what people have kind of started to demand is if I'm hosting a Zoom, cameras on.
Oh, I have tried that. The hard part is so if you're the presenter, the cameras on means nothing because you're not seeing them.
No, but like it's more of I guess you're expecting them to be honest and stay on it.
Yeah, but there's no for us. Like I invite everybody.
Yeah.
35 people out of 90 show up. Some work, some got other obligations.
Yep.
Some of them I talk to on a daily basis, and they were like, "I've already got all the information. I
Yeah,
don't
like I
need
heard you talk
anything."
about
Yeah,
this 6 times this week to
right,
me.
right. So, kind of, it's one of those things. But the other thing is that as soon as I go to present, I can't see anything anyway.
Yeah, I
So
guess
the
you're really
camera
just
being
focusing on
on,
your stuff.
I got the screen that of what I'm
So what they
sharing.
should do is just do cameras on, you present, they can
Yeah,
and then put them back on when you finish.
yeah. But there's no account. Like it's not like I say unless it's mandatory, and then I get a report because I can through Zoom I can get a report and say who was on the call in
Right.
Federation. But even if the camera's on, as soon as I present, they could walk away and I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, but no, you're right in that it's so much less personal. Like I
Oh,
remember we were
yeah.
giving well a few times when we've presented to the office to the realtors, the types of questions that I think they're willing to ask in that environment, just like this. They're like, what about this? Whereas like when you're in a Zoom, I think you're looking at a clock.
Yeah, I also feel like in Zoom you feel like you're interrupting when you're asking the question, right?
Got you.
Because
Yeah,
you
because you're
know,
used to watching a video or something.
yeah, so
That's actually an
the hands up thing is
interesting
great.
thing.
Like, so my team are really good at, putting their hand up for the conversation. So I see it. And that's the only time I see them across the top of the screen. But it is one of those things where their hand goes up. I now recognize it. Sometimes you make that eye contact when you're training
Yes.
and somebody's
When
like,
somebody's
hey,
like giving you like a look or they got
and,
a thinking
and you're
face,
like, hey, Greg, yeah, I see your
uh-huh,
you got that look on your face. Like,
glazed
what do you
over.
want to ask?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it's about prodding them to ask because,
Yeah.
a lot of
Or you
people
can pick on
say,
somebody.
oh, pick on somebody. We have some fun. I mean, my staff likes
I like
us.
doing that. If I'm presenting something, I like to be like, Steve,
Yeah.
what do you think? And I love my favorites when people are like,
Yeah. But like, you just caught them off
I've been
guard.
there.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It's fun.
But it's also about, they sometimes don't want to ask the question, but you can tell that they have the question. So in face to face on Zoom, you can't do
Yeah.
that,
Because you're
right?
not,
So
yeah, you're
it
not actually
is,
looking at it. And even the Zoom cameras don't show you they don't show you like a furrow or somebody being
no.
like, like you can see it, but not,
My favorite part of Zoom is when I turn actually the presentation off and I see the faces.
yeah.
Right. So I start the meetings really, really early so that we can have banter back and
Yeah, you
forth
can
and
chat a
conversation.
bit
And what it does is too, it brings the group together, right? Because normally when we do in person, I do Simcoe area and then I do Niagara area.
all at once.
No, I do two separate days
Okay.
so that they're not driving an hour and a half and I'm the only person doing the long drive, right? So
Oh,
um,
I got you.
for the in person stuff. On Zoom, we bring both sides together, so it works a little bit better. But I do think that really it was a trifecta. It was COVID, then well, we had DocuSign already. DocuSign really got ramped up during COVID,
Mhm.
and then Zoom meetings really were the
So
nail.
no age demographic, you would say more about the time in the industry.
Okay.
That kind of really set the
Yeah.
habits, which I guess they kind of go hand in hand, but they're not.
So for a realtor that started in the last 5 years, or even a mortgage agent that started in the last 5 years, they don't know Office,
Yeah.
right? Because if they started in 2019,
Yep.
2020, they started in COVID.
Yeah.
So they didn't, they only knew working from home.
Yeah. That
Right.
makes
So
sense.
I think that was the trifecta of it, is us being able to do a document, because we never were allowed to do DocuSign for agreement of purchase and sale. We had to actually get legislation changed for that.
No way.
It took some time, but we did get the legislation changed. You could do your buyer's rep, you could do your listing agreement, you could do
It all had
anything.
to be wet ink before.
No, those you could do on
But I'm
DocuSign.
talking about for
It
the
was
APS.
the conveyance of title had to be wet.
Huh.
And then we got legislation changed to say, you know what, no, DocuSign is totally acceptable. And that was the start of, in my mind anyway, the start of the end of bricks and mortar. Now, bricks and mortar still has its place. You still need meeting space. You
Yep.
still need to bring people together. That's culture, though. That's not business operations in a lot of cases. We've done some funky stuff in our offices,
In what
like
way?
some fun. So when we
Well, I
did a
guess this.
this is a perfect example. The recording studio that we've
Yep.
got down here, that's a great example. When we rebranded from the old Coldwell Banker brand to the new Coldwell Banker brand, we actually took our tent and set it up in the middle of Lake Street with the new brand and all. We did a basically bought a bunch of swag for everybody, and did an event inside the office, and we had a candy bar set up for all the kids so that the parents could bring their kids in, and all the candy was blue.
Ah,
So we had this
blue's a
tent.
good flavor.
Blue is a great
Blue
flavor. It's
raspberry or
better than
whatever.
it's better than red. I tell you that much. Ask my kids about red. I was yelling at them about red dye the other day. We put the tent up, and the tent was too tall,
That
so
makes
we had to
sense.
have to move all the
Ceiling
ceiling
tiles,
tiles to
shoved
get
them
the tent
over.
to go up. But we had the entire space done that way. We have Christmas events in there. Like,
Yeah,
we do
that
all
makes
sorts
sense. I
of
remember.
stuff in head office. We've done wine and cheese and stuff like that. That's where the office becomes important. Where the office becomes a detriment is when it doesn't get used for anything. And that is, our Grimsby office that went by the wayside. It never really took off. And
But there wasn't a lot of agents out at that
no, and
office, right?
and it was a market that I misread as an adult, that I thought I knew because I was there as a child, because of growing up there. I thought it would be easy to reassimilate myself in there, and it was a hard lesson for me.
So that was the initial kind of plan. Is like, hey, grew up here,
Yeah, yeah,
got some decent ties.
yeah, and realized that my ties weren't as strong as I thought they were.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't. So I'm a bit of a weirdo. I didn't stay in touch with a lot of people
Uh
from
huh.
high school, so it was and that was not by design, not
Just
because it
the
didn't.
way
It's
life
just the
goes.
way
Yeah.
my life went, and I thought that I could go back in and rebuild some of those relationships, and it just never happened. It never took off. So
Or I guess you probably needed a heck of a lot more time to put into that to rebuild it than
yeah,
maybe you had available
yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I was never going down there every single day,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what it would have taken for me to get back into that market and reintroduce myself. Um, but also, sometimes you got to try something,
Hmm.
fail and fail forward, and we realized that it wasn't working, and just decided, you know what, like, let's not keep going at this, and
Yeah,
save the
I
money.
think that's smart though. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying it, and then you're
Right?
like, ooh, this is not
Yep.
what I really thought this was going to be. Like, let's just,
Yeah. Shut her down.
yeah, shut her
Right?
down.
It's okay to move on. It's
I remember going to
okay.
that office.
I love that
That
office.
was a cool office. I
I
had an interesting vibe. I liked that it was second
second
floor
floor.
of that.
Orchard View
Yeah, whatever
Plaza
that's
or something.
called,
I
right
don't
by
know.
the
Y-
West Lincoln Hospital.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because my brother was born in that hospital. Like that's how far back my root. My 35-year-old brother was born in that hospital.
Yeah,
I spent a
my
lot of
third
time
kid
in
was
there as
born
a
in that
kid.
hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I did not know that. So for me, it was one of those things, is that sometimes bricks and mortar work, sometimes they don't. Like you have, in a business, you have to have a head office, right? So it's the ancillary offices that are usually the ones that are kind of, okay. Lake Street's never going anywhere unless Lake
It's
Street
a
were to,
hub.
it's the hub, right? Unless we moved it to a place where I bought a building, right? Like that's the only way. Um,
I did think this might become the hub.
you know what? I think if most of my staff didn't live close to that, this place would make more sense as head office. But I have way more staff in St. Catharines,
Yeah, just the way that they're.
agents
Yeah, yeah. No,
wise,
it makes
right? Like,
sense.
so I'm not going to
I,
disrupt them.
to be fair, this ends up turning into a different vibe, a different type of thing gets done here. Like there's more. Like the mortgage team is out of here,
The mortgage team's
right?
out of
The
here.
lawyers are out of here.
Hopefully, we're going to be adding a paralegal to the mix.
Yep. Where
In the
has there been any talks
next little
about
while.
where?
Where
Mhm.
that person's going to go, I know exactly where that person's going to go, but I can't say right now because that person doesn't know where they're going to go yet. So,
Hmm.
but
I want that spot.
we're having a conversation about bringing a paralegal on to service just our realtors in the law firm,
Yeah.
and bring them in to handle things like landlord tenant board. So that kind of person needs a dedicated
Oh
space.
yeah.
Like they need a space that they can, have private conversations, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of one of those things where, that's a bricks and mortar thing, but that's going to be based out of here because the one thing I find about Niagara Falls, where we are today is the um, centralness of it. I can
Hmm.
get to St. Catharines, I can get to
Yes.
Fonthill, I
Agreed.
can get to Ridgeway within 20 minutes of all three.
Yeah. I'm a hop. I'm in St. Catharines, and this takes me 15 minutes max,
Yeah,
depending
and
on
it's 20 minutes.
construction and
And it's
whatever
funny
else is going
because
on.
you Meriton people
Yeah.
say that I live in the middle of BF nowhere,
Uh-huh.
and it takes me the same amount of time to get here as it takes you because you got a Welland Canal to deal with,
That
and
canal.
I can tell you how many times it's screwed me over the
It
years.
happened a few weeks ago when we
Yes, it
were.
did. We were gonna go look at some houses, and it
Yeah,
screwed me. That's not the first time, and it won't be
dude.
the last.
The amount of times it's like they wait till 8:30 in the morning, and
Oh,
they're
the
like,
boats light up.
and they're like, oh, you guys have somewhere to go at rush hour? Let's have all the boats come through right now.
Yeah. It's like the captain woke up and said, "Let's screw with them."
Yeah,
Yeah. So
93.3. The
yeah.
it's on my radio.
Oh
I
yeah.
click it, and they give me
They
the
got a
bridge
little.
status
And
update.
they got a little app that you can click
Yeah,
on too.
but I'm not thinking ahead of time, and then I pull out of my driveway and I go, this bridge better not be up.
Yeah. Because so when you go down Rocks,
Rockwood.
Rockwood to
Uh,
land and then turn right, or do you come through
I
by
generally
the?
I'll go down Glendale.
Okay.
Um,
See, I hate Glendale.
I'll rip out of Glendale, and then if I see it, I go,
Straight down Canal Drive and
yeah,
turn over.
hang a left there, go down to Queenston, and then.
But again,
But it's just to say it's happened before where Glendale's been closed for construction or something. It's up.
yeah.
You get to Queenston, Queenston's going up, and I've got to go to Carlton, or I turn
Or
around
up
and go
the
to
top,
Thoroldstone,
yeah,
go
I've done
under
that
the
too.
canal, and you have to sit there and go.
Yeah. What's worse is right now the Thorold Tunnel's down to one lane. So,
Really?
oh yeah,
In both
I
directions?
think so. Because
Great.
I pass the sign every day saying coming in. But I digress. So yeah, so that it definitely does. I mean, bricks and mortar is definitely important. It is hugely important. But it has to be strategic.
Yeah, and even for us, again, I think about it selfishly for me and
Yeah.
Sue, and I go, different types of things can get done. Like it's much easier because we share an office to like you're in the thick of it,
Yep.
and you look up and you're just like, you could ask the little quick like, did we? What is? How do I? You know what I mean? One of these quick little
The
questions.
collaboration.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, thanks, and then you go back to whatever the heck you were doing, screwing up.
Screw it up.
But it to me like it's nice and like I like it.
Yeah,
I like the balance of the two.
and it's funny because Sue can sit on the couch just as happily and work. She'll put on TV in the background and work.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that as much.
She doesn't even watch it.
I know, but
It's
she used to do the same thing at the Ridgeway office
just background
when we
noise to
went
her.
upstairs because you guys
Yeah.
have the big,
Yeah, the big steam.
and she'd be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna put on
Pretty Little Liars.
or Gilmore Girls or something
Yeah.
used to be on or
Yeah.
whatever it was,"
Shout out to those shows in my house.
and that would be on in the background, and I'm sitting there like, and again, I also like the background noise, but like
I'm different. So Alice loses her mind in Niagara Falls when I'm in here late working, because her and I both work late. And normally, she's here later than I am, and I close my door and my music is so loud. I like turn it up so loud when I'm
You're like
doing
a
stuff.
16-year-old girl.
I am worse. I've got my either, sometimes I want it so loud that I put my over my ear beats on, just so that it's deafening loud, because I need that. That's how I shut it out. That's how I shut out the
Yeah,
noise.
but you know what? I do the exact same thing. I just do it with headphones.
Yeah.
Like
But I
I put this stuff in, and I go, oh, I gotta block out this. So I get that.
I mean, there's a reason I have
Yours are just old
a
school.
turntable. Oh yeah, I got a turntable, an amplifier, speakers,
Yeah.
the whole nine yards. They're gonna hate me when I plug those in one day. They're just there right now for aesthetics. I haven't hooked it up because I need, believe it or not, speaker wire, which is not something that you can readily,
Really?
no,
Oh.
it's not, because nothing's speak wired anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's wireless. Everything's through Bluetooth.
Yeah, and you probably need such a small length. You're like, I need 5
I
feet.
need like 8 feet each way. And I say all the time, I'm going to bring it in and hook it up, and then I'm going to get kicked out of my own building because it's going to be so loud.
Can you imagine?
Whatever. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is going to be a Saturday night. I'm going to be in here, and this is what I'm going to be doing, just sitting listening to tunes. I'm not even here working. I'm just sitting here listening to records.
You're just a moody
So,
teenager.
just a moody teenager. Get me out of this life.
Okay. So that makes sense though. Brick and mortar, it's here to stay.
Not going anywhere, but it's
Those
got to be
who
useful.
aren't using it, maybe give it a go.
Yeah.
Come check it out. See the place, like see the
Benefits.
benefits that your office has for you.
Yep.
Like you're now offering this. I say this as if everybody can see what I'm pointing to, but it's the
Yeah.
media room,
Yep. The
right? Where
recording
you can
studio.
come in, the recording studio.
Yeah, and I mean, also you have to think, like, we provide other services, like, so having the lawyers down the hall is huge.
Oh
Right? Like
man, I
I walked in the door this morning 5 to 8, and I was like in Mark's office. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. Can I do it? Any legal troubles? He's like, nope, go ahead.
yeah,
Right? That's a huge thing for us.
I was telling like a client the other day about something that we're doing, and I said, listen, if I can make a suggestion, like let's use a lawyer that we trust. Like
Yep,
I have a guy because
I
I'm
got a
starting
guy.
to see how important
Oh yeah,
those guys are in this entire transaction. And
100%.
like when things go right,
You don't need them.
yeah,
They're not.
it's fine. But
When it goes bad, it goes
things
bad.
go right much less often than they go. Sorry, like things are smooth, completely smooth, much less often than
100%.
it's
Everything I touch right now is challenging.
you and
Everything.
me both.
Yeah, and it's funny because I mean, I had 3 phone calls this morning before we started recording
Yeah.
about challenges that people are having with files, and sometimes it's just the people, sometimes it's the circumstance, sometimes it's
So
the
I went and
situation,
grabbed
right?
coffee with a buddy of mine who's a realtor yesterday. We hadn't caught up in a while, like a while. Like he had a kid within the last 5 months. I was like, "How are things?"
Yeah,
We're kind of chit chatting, and obviously with some of the stuff going on for us, I was just like, "Dude, things are a little hectic." And he was talking about a few hectic things he's got going on,
yeah,
and I was like, "You're seeing some chaos too?" Then he's like, "Oh yeah, like I got this going on and that going on," and he brought up something, a very unique program that they're trying to run for one of their properties for like one of his clients, rent to
right,
own.
yeah.
And I was like, I kind of gave him a look, and he's like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "I've never seen those work."
No,
He's like,
I've seen one work.
and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, we kind of went into it, and he goes, "I'm using so and so," and I was like, "Oh, like," or I said, "Are you using this and this
Yeah,
service
whatever it is.
person, whatever it
Yeah,
is?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Never seen it work there." And I go, "We also had a different one we were trying."
that didn't
I
work
brought it
either.
up, and he was like, "I never heard of that one." And
Yeah.
then he all of a sudden was like, "Dude, you're scaring me." And I was like, "I hope I'm wrong."
I
But
will tell you, it's funny because I tell my staff all the time, it's not a problem until it's a problem.
yeah,
And if you live by that in real estate and mortgages and have that in the back of your mind all the time with all your decision making, it will help keep you out of those situations.
yeah, and I think it's also it's good to be aware of the, hey, this is small chance this is going to actually close. But
Yeah.
hey, I could be wrong. And
Yeah,
in fact, for your
100%.
sake, I hope I am wrong. I hope that you message me in 2 days and you're like, "Hey, buddy,
Haha.
yeah, haha."
I tell people all the time when I give them a price, listen, if you think that your house is worth more and you want me to try that, my job is to do what you legally tell me to
Yeah,
do.
but you're coming to me as the expert.
But you're coming to me as the expert, and I always say to them, we'll try it. And if I'm wrong, I will shake your hand and say, your gut was better than mine.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, it's not the case. The market knowledge is the market knowledge, right? So, but we digress at 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about this. I still think that it has its place. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think that
I think the hybrid
businesses.
model is the way to go.
I think hybrid is absolutely the way of the future. I don't think that completely
Hmm.
virtual works, and I don't think completely bricks and mortar work. I think that you have to give options
I would say
for your
that
staff.
completely brick and mortar would likely work better than completely virtual. I think for I think being able to run the hybrid is a luxury.
It's also a skill.
It's also a skill. Yeah.
You can't do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. That's fair.
You can't just say, "Oh, that's it. We're going to just be hybrid." You have to. It has to be organized. It has to be like it took me a long time to get to that point where I was comfortable running it as a hybrid,
Yeah.
and that's what we do.
All right.
All right.
Till next
Okay.
time.
Till next time. Have a good day.
Chat soon.
Peace.
Bye.